on Fox and Friends Weekend, the White House caught off guard on almost every major issue.
The Fast and Furious program, when in fact everyone knows, the president did not know about this tactic until he heard about it on through the media.
Let me take
So is the administration really that clueless, or are they playing us for fools?
Well, the shocking violence tearing Iraq apart is just the latest crisis that seems to have caught the White House completely off guard. Take a look.
The Fast and Furious program, when in fact everyone knows, the president did not know about this tactic until he heard about it on through the media.
Let me take the IRS situation first. I first learned about it from the same news reports that I think most people learned about this. I think it was on Friday.
As I said yesterday in my statement, other than press reports, we have no knowledge of any attempt by the Justice Department to seek phone records of the Associated Press.
Do you know when he first knew that there was a problem?
Well, I think it became clear fairly early on, the first couple of days, that...
So not before that, though? Not before October?
Again and again, a complete surprise. Is this for real? Does the White House really have no idea what's going on in its own administration? Or something else going on? Join us now, Fox News contributor Jonah Goldberg, live from Washington. Jonah, thanks for coming on this morning. What do you make of this?
Look, I'm not sure. First, nice to be here, Tucker. I'm not sure that you can have a single explanation for all of these things. I think some of them have to do with, I mean, other than the sort of generic incompetence, but every administration is blindsided by something or other. I think on the domestic side, one of the problems that Obama has is that he's a very bad manager, and he thinks that giving a speech is the same thing as doing something. And so he often thinks he's checked the box on this issue or that issue when he gives a speech, and he doesn't actually get much involved in the actual management of government.
Right.
On the foreign policy side, I think one of the reasons why he seems like he's always surprised by these things is because it's the direct consequence of an ideological approach to foreign policy that says we should be leading from behind and not involved around the world in one way or the other. And so if you have that foreign policy, you're going to have events overtake you and take you by surprise.
But even events that anybody who's paying any attention could have predicted, for example, the rise in Sunni militants in Iraq, some of them coming over from the chaos in Syria. They claimed that they were caught by surprise there. How?
Well, in part because I think they just basically took their eye off the ball and didn't very much care. But also, I mean, I think there's an important point you got to keep in mind here is there's a lot of spin going on with Obama. He doesn't want, you know, it's sort of like the classic underachiever, which I was in high school. You never want to admit that you actually tried your best at something,
right?
Because then it just makes you look bad. So you always sort of say, well, I didn't even study until the night before. If they can say that they were surprised, then it doesn't look like this is actually a consequence of their foreign policy. You know, and we see this on almost every one of these screw-ups. You know, my ancestors on the Russian shtetl always like to say, if only the Tsar knew, which is to say, if only the leader who cares about us knew about these things, this wouldn't be happening. And Obama has, from the very beginning, cultivated that personality in himself, cultivated that sort of cult-like sense that he is above normal politics, and whenever he focuses on something, he can fix it because he's just that good. And that sort of approach to things means that he is disconnected from these mess-ups because it can't be that he was actually involved, otherwise there wouldn't be mess-ups.
Well, and to extend the Russian comparison, the next step is always unseen saboteurs did this. You know, Trotskyites are responsible, and you saw with Josh Earnest just yesterday. He said, really, this is about talking about the IRS scandals and where these emails. This is just a Republican conspiracy theory. Who is he talking to when he says that? He's not talking to the broad swath of the middle of the country, is he? It seems like he's just narrowcasting to his deepest fans.
Well, I think you make a good point. I think in the beginning of his administration, this sort of tactic, which he's been using from the White House has been using from the beginning, of saying that I, President Obama, am on the side of all good and just things. I want puppies and kittens to get along. I want only blue skies here on out. It's my opponents who don't care about America, who have this ideological agenda. And for a long time, that worked. Most of his first term, that worked. But they've stayed on this, even though now it leaves independents cold. It leaves a lot of other people cold. but it doesn't leave their sort of base of the sort of MSNBC watching partisan Democrats who really do believe that they are the forces of light and truth against all forces of evil. And I think they're looking at desperate, we're looking at a little bit of desperation on their part to hold on to the support of their base going into the midterm elections.
Yes, they're only talking to the bitter enders. It's creepy, actually. Jonah Goldberg joining us live this morning. Thanks a lot, Jonah. That was really interesting.
Always great to be here.